And joining us now is Cheyanne Daniel. Cheyanne is a race and politics reporter with our media partners at the Hill. Cheyanne, welcome back. Let's get right to it. Continuing on what we just heard, where do you think things stand right now today on this, for the right and the fight for civil rights?
I think that's a wonderful question. I think one thing that we heard from so many of the civil rights leaders, the advocates, even some of the members of the Congressional Black Caucus this weekend at the March on Washington, was that there's still a very big fight ahead. We have made incredible gains. We've made so much progress in so many different ways, from legislation to obviously having the largest cohort of the Congressional Black Caucus, to Ketanji Brown Jackson, to Vice President Kamala Harris. But there's also a lot of concerns that are still facing many who feel that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's dream has not yet been achieved. And that goes from voting rights to some of the fights that we are seeing play out in the Supreme Court to even the battle over education.
You attended this year's rally and march. What were some of the things that you were feeling, and how did it feel to be standing where Dr. King stood?
I think it was definitely an incredible moment. I think there was a feeling of solidarity, of unity. There was clearly so many folks who were there who were excited, as I was, to be standing in this historical space, in this historical moment. And again, this huge urge, this huge push to see Dr. Martin Luther King's dream really come true finally.
You know, where do you think, what do you think needs to be done right now to try and move forward?
I think the biggest issue that we're hearing is voting rights. Martin Luther King's family spoke on Saturday, both his son's wife, Andrea Waters King, and their 15-year-old daughter, Yolanda, who is the only grandchild of Dr. King. And many of them pointed to the battle over voting rights and how important voting is in order to be able to not only achieve the dream we heard King speak about 60 years ago, but also some of the ideas that we heard from the Representative John Lewis, who unfortunately is no longer with us, just about achieving equality and achieving our place at the table, and making sure that we are no longer waiting, because we are finally part of the discussions that are taking place.
You talk about the importance of the discussions. How do you think, or what needs to be done to make this a collective effort where all people get together to fight for one cause?
I think that was something we actually saw on Saturday. It was a multi-generational but also multi-racial coalition that turned out from not just the organizers, but also those who were present there, lending their support, having their voices heard, being part of the march. You know, many of those who helped organize the march were younger folks. We also saw individuals like David Hogg, who was a Parkland shooting survivor. He was present. He's younger. And of course, like I mentioned, Yolanda King, who's only 15 years old. So many of those who are there are saying we have to be able to find what it is that we all want, but come together to show just how large this movement is.
Do you think that the Supreme Court ruling against affirmative action for college admissions was a step backwards?
I think that what we are hearing is absolutely right, because we know who this is going to disproportionately affect. It's going to disproportionately affect Black students who already have a harder time being accepted into particularly elite schools. But what we were also hearing is that this isn't just something that is only going to affect Black students. It's also going to affect women, particularly Black women. And so for many, this was a moment that is sending us back. You know, we keep hearing the NAACP say that it's sending us back to the 1950s, to the 1940s, when Black people and our lives were not valued. And so there's definitely this sense at this moment that particularly what we're seeing coming down from our Supreme Court is indicating that we are taking steps backward instead of forward.
Cheyanne Daniels, thank you very much for joining us on Capitol Review.
Thank you.